Hello, gentlemen. Germany has just made a shocking decision in Europe. That is to amend their constitution. They have lifted the debt ceiling. Many believe Germany is finally breaking free. Finally shaking off the shadow of World War II. Reclaiming its dominance in Europe. However, it must be noted. This is not the beginning of a great revival, but Germany's last struggle. Why is this so? Today, let's take 5 minutes to thoroughly understand Germany's real dilemma. First, the Cold War dividend. What was Germany during the Cold War? It was at the forefront of the East-West ideological battlefield. The West invested huge amounts in West Germany. The East poured resources into East Germany. This unique position was unparalleled globally. West Germany had the Marshall Plan. East Germany was sustained by the Sino-Soviet alliance. After the fall, Germany reaped all the dividends. This was truly a godsend. After the Cold War, Germany became what? The economic center of Europe. It cleverly secured cheap labor from Eastern Europe and affordable energy from Russia. It accessed vast markets in the East. The EU seemed custom-tailored for Germany. Germany manufactured high-end products. Eastern and Southern Europe worked for Germany. Russia could supply resources and finance for Germany. This is the geographical advantage. The third layer is the demographic dividend. The post-war baby boom brought Germany what? A large number of high-quality young workers. These were born between 1955 and 1970. Not only were they numerous, their education levels were particularly high. In 1970, the number of university students was 4 times that of 1950. This dual explosion of population and talent created the golden age of German manufacturing. This is human capital. But now, these 3 dividends are all gone. With the end of the Cold War, Germany is no longer at the ideological forefront. The baby boomer generation is now retiring. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has cost Germany cheap energy from Russia and strained relations with the East. This has also cost Germany its largest market. Germany's most fatal issue now is population collapse. As has been said, when the land is lost, people are lost. When people are lost, the land is lost. Germany's population is not only shrinking, but also aging rapidly. The native white population is nearing negative growth, even with Eastern European immigrants included. The overall population is still declining. What does aging mean? It means a surge in pension expenditures, increased healthcare burdens, declining consumption capacity, insufficient innovation drive, disappearing social vitality. To fill labor shortages, Germany has been forced to import many immigrants from the Middle East and Africa. However, this is like a double-edged sword. A strong medicine. It temporarily alleviates labor shortages, but brings about more severe social divides, tearing the population apart. Like an engine cylinder. Once a cylinder cracks, no amount of premium fuel will help. Meanwhile, Germany's proud industrial crown is also fading. The East is advancing in Industry 4.0. Germany is stuck in Industry 4.0. Looking at recent news from Germany. Volkswagen announced layoffs of nearly 50,000. Siemens is closing factories. Bayer and Audi are struggling with electric vehicle sales. Why is this happening? Because the 3 main pillars of German industry are being undermined. The loss of cheap Russian energy. The vast East market is no more. American trade barriers have raised the stakes for German industry. How can it not be shaky? Now, Germany's amendment to the constitution. Increasing military spending. In my view, it indicates that Germany, in its decline, wants to take a big gamble. What is this gamble? It is very likely unifying Europe. Let's look at some data. In 2024, the total EU budget will reach $3.26 trillion, equivalent to 6.6 trillion renminbi, while military spending in the East is only 1.6 trillion euros. America's military spending is so high? Why is it like a paper tiger in the Russia-Ukraine conflict? The answer is simple. That is redundancy in military buildup. Even small countries need to maintain hundreds of armored vehicles. Denmark, a small nation, has its own navy. Imagine if every province in the east had its own military. Each province with tank divisions and naval fleets. How much resources would be wasted? These are like a family. Everyone has their own room with a private security system. Instead of sharing a high-end military. European military construction is this absurd. This is why the EU, with 500 million people, needs assistance from the US. To help 40 million Ukrainians fight 145 million Russians. Let's look at today's world order. What is the East doing? The 6th Gen fighter is in the air and being tested. The 076 is launched, accelerating the establishment of a complete industrial system. Since the Trump administration, there have been ambitions to dominate Canada. And even Greenland, aiming to control the Panama Canal. Completing North American unification. However, the trade volume with the East has already exceeded $240 billion in 2024. It is accelerating its Canadianization. It is becoming a vassal of Eastern resources. History tells us that every successful great power rises through unity. Qin unified the 6 states. Rome unified the Mediterranean. The United States unified North America. And Germany remains stuck at the insurmountable threshold of European unity. A divided Europe can only be a pawn and battlefield for great powers. For Germany to truly rise, the only path is to unify Europe. But is this possible? As Volkswagen begins large-scale layoffs. As illegal immigrants occupy German streets. As traditional churches turn into mosques. Germany's future is already written on the wall. If Germany does not strive once more, then in the next 10 to 15 years, Germany may transform from a barely sustained industrial power into an economic collapse. Ethnic conflict. A state losing control over religious divisions. This is Germany's third struggle. And it may be its last. Who will Germany team up with this time? Will it repeat the tragic history? Or create new miracles? In this great upheaval in the world, I will explain the opportunities at each stage. So be sure to follow me quickly. Don't miss any updates.